All right, we're live. Good morning, everybody. I am here at the Buttonwood Park Zoo for another one of our virtual keeper chats. Just sort of hanging out, giving you a quick look of the center of the zoo for folks that were here yesterday. You might recognize this exhibit over here that you can see. Just kind of hanging out for a minute to see if folks are online. There might be a little bit of a delay. I'm looking for some thumbs up or hearts. Oh, there's a thumbs up. Let's see if I can see some comments to let me know that you guys are seeing this. Oh, lots of hearts. So that tells me that some folks... Oh, too quiet there, says Nancy Feeney. Nancy, are you seeing this video feed okay? Can you hear me? The sun is coming out just in time for our next virtual keeper chat. Just kind of showing you how quiet the center of the zoo is right now. I'm seeing lots of hearts and lots of thumbs up. So that tells me that you guys are here and you're seeing it. I think there's just a delay in the comments, which is okay. So we're going to get started in just a minute. For folks that are just joining us, this is the Buttonwood Park Zoo here in New Bedford, Massachusetts. And because we can't have our visitors live on site, we've been doing some virtual keeper chats for you. Today we're going to meet an animal that is very near and dear to me. It's going to be a little bit different and a little bit of an experiment. This is an animal that knows me, so I'm behind the camera and this animal might react a little bit to seeing me, but if worst case scenario, this will be one for the blooper reel. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I don't know if you folks can see this sign that's here very well. You may or may not be able to read it. You might get a picture. Any guesses where we are right now? Good morning, Haley. Sophia from Zoo Crew says hello. Hi, Sophia. So we're in the center of the zoo and we're gonna get right to it. So the animal that we're gonna meet today is Molly. And here she comes. Hello, Molly. Molly is our coyote. Working with Molly today is Jess. Jess is going to do a training session with Molly. And now that I've said hello, maybe Jess will have her attention now. And I'm going to turn it right over to Jess.
So hi guys, I know a lot of you have requested to see Molly. Everybody really loves Molly here. So she is our coyote. She's going to be turning 5 next month on April 22nd. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with a little training session. So I'm going to stop talking to you for a few minutes just to do some behaviors with Molly if she wants to participate. And I'm going to be reinforcing those behaviors with some rat pinkies. So we have these little tiny rat babies, and we'll see if she wants to participate. Good. Sit. Good.
So while Jess is working with Molly, running through some of the behaviors that she knows, I'll just talk a little bit and sort of narrate so you can see the target pole that she's got. So this is something we use with a lot of our animals, and it's sort of a platform to be able to move on to other behaviors. So you'll see Molly touching that target pole and doing some of the behaviors that she knows. You'll hear Jess giving her some different verbal cues.
Sit. Good. Target. Good. Target. Good.
And once she's done with the training session, we'll be able to take all your questions.
Jump. Good. Jump. Good.
So somebody just asked, is Molly's bridge the word good? And the answer is yes. And I'll have Jess talk all about what the bridge is when she's done with her training session.
Good. Good. Yeah. Good. Down. Good. Sit. Good. Yeah. Good. So we just finished up a little mini training session. I'll probably throw a few more treats for her in a few minutes, but we can talk about Molly for a little bit. I don't know if there are any questions popping up yet.
Yep, we have all kinds of questions that are popping up. So Chloe, age 9, wants to know, where did she come from?
Good question. So Molly actually comes to us from Texas. So what happened with her is her mom unfortunately was hit by a car in Texas, and she was pregnant at the time. And they actually did an emergency surgery on the side of the road and ended up getting Molly here. She also had some brothers and a sister at the time, and they're all in Cleveland, I believe, right now. Red, Tex, and Ember. Some of the keepers have reached out to
She
us.
just stole your target pool.
She does like to steal. And then she'll hide it away and not let me get it.
So Sophia, age 7, wants to know, how fast can Molly run?
So coyotes are known to run at top speeds of about 30 to 45 miles per hour. So pretty fast animals.
All right. So Katie, age 8, wants to know, why is the target pole blue?
That's just the way they come. So we have some that are blue, some that are red. And actually, if you think about, I'm going to go get it.
Yeah.
Chewing on it.
Let's see if we can find her. So while she's trying to get that target pole away from, she did. She got it. So let's see. I'm sure Molly's going to come back over. So this is sometimes how training sessions go.
Come here.
All right. So can you just talk a little bit about the training session? I know you kind of have to pay attention to her as well, but just what the target pole is and...
Yep. So the target pole is something, and you've probably seen it in other videos, but it's a good tool that we use with most of our animals here, and it just kind of helps us get them going in the direction we want them to. It's an easy behavior to learn, so that jump behavior over the hoop, if we were having trouble, we could kind of target her on one side of the hoop to the other side. So it's a good training behavior to shape other behaviors as well. You're all done.
All right. Isabel wants to know, why is she so nice to the trainer?
So Molly is a very imprinted coyote. I wouldn't call her domesticated, but she is relatively tame because she's still a wild animal. She's still a coyote. She is not a dog, so you never want to do what I'm doing here with any coyotes you see out in the wild. But because Molly has only known humans her whole life, that's why she's so good with us most of the time. And that's why we can't let her back out in the wild, because she wasn't raised by another coyote, so she doesn't have all those natural behaviors. So she probably wouldn't do a good job taking care of herself on her own.
Boy, she's doing a lot of moving around. You guys are getting some close-up of her fur right now. So Allison, age 11, wants to know, how high can she jump?
On average, these guys can jump pretty high, about 8 feet. They've been known to jump over very tall fences. So once they get a running start, they can jump pretty high. So if you need to, barricade away from coyotes for livestock or what have you, you want to make sure your fences are nice and high.
Logan, age 7, wants to know, what does she eat?
What does she eat? So you saw me giving her some rat pinkies, but she eats all kinds of whole prey items. So we feed her rats and rabbits and chicks, pretty much any small little animal. We'll give her, and it comes in frozen, and we thaw it out for her. She also does get some ground up meat as well, and some kibble, kind of like you would give your dogs at home. So she gets a variety of food.
So Jackson and Landon want to know if there are different kinds of coyotes.
Good question. So coyotes are their own species, but they are broken up into 19 different subspecies. So that'll be based on where they live. So sometimes you'll see coyotes in the desert, sometimes they're in the mountains. So they very adaptable. They range anywhere from all over the United States, into Canada, into Mexico, and even Central America. So a lot of people say, Molly's so small. The coyotes I see in my backyard are so much bigger. And that's because Molly comes to us from Texas. So she's a western coyote, which are typically a little bit smaller than the eastern coyote, the ones that you see around here. And an interesting fact about the ones you see around here, they're actually kind of hybridized over time with wolves. So gray wolves. So that's why they're bigger.
So we have a good question about wild coyotes. Should we be afraid of coyotes in the wild?
Excellent question. So there have been probably 10 coyote attacks over the last 60 years. So typically if they can get away from danger.
Right now, Molly is moving so fast that all people are getting is a view of me going back and forth. Let me see if I can get her to.
Came over to spy on her.
Okay, so.
She's a little distracted.
All right, Molly. Can you see if you can get her back up on the log?
Yep.
Let's see if you can get her back up. All right, good girl. There you go. There's a close-up. Oh, and she's down. All right, so I'm going to pan in on Jess right now so she can keep talking about whether or not we should be afraid of coyotes in the wild.
So if you see a coyote, the best thing you can do for them is actually, and it sounds counterintuitive, but to kind of scare them away. We don't want them kind of encroaching into the city. It's not good for them to get used to people because then they become a nuisance and then we would have to, get rid of them. So you shouldn't fear coyotes. You want to be careful. You want to watch their behavior. But if you make loud noises or flash bright lights, that's a good way to get them to get away from you. But trying to avoid them, don't go up to them, don't approach them, is a good way to stay away from them.
So Payne and Piper, age 11. Oh, they're coming to us from New Jersey. They want to know, does she have a favorite keeper?
It's me, of course. No. All the keepers here who work with her kind of fight for her attention, and it depends on which keeper you ask. We would all say that we're her favorite keeper, so it depends who you ask.
All right, I can get her off in the distance now. So Xander, age 9, this is a great question, wants to know if she has had babies.
She has not had babies, so it's typically not recommended for coyotes to breed under managed care, under human care, because they do so well in the wild. There's not really a need for us to breed in captivity because they are least concern and they're actually becoming almost overpopulated out in the wild. So that's why we haven't bred.
So Kaiden, age 9, wants to know, do they really eat roadrunners or is that just in the cartoon?
A wily coyote, they'll pretty much eat anything they can find. So out in the wild, they're going to be eating small things. They'll even eat insects, something so small as an insect. So any bird they can find, they will get. And those desert coyotes will go after those. So even Molly here has caught a few birds in her day. Birds, rodents, rabbits, sheep, and even deer. So these guys live in either family groups or loosely knit, unrelated groups. And typically when they go hunt something small, they'll do it by themselves. But if they're going to take on something large, like a deer, they'll do it together.
So Chloe, age 9, wants to know, what are their predators?
Their predators are very few, actually. Humans are probably their number one threat. But they'll also have to worry about cougars and even gray wolves will go after them, but they don't really have a wide variety of predators.
How much can, Samantha 7 wants to know, how many pups can they have in one litter? Oh, and here's a great...
I'll let you listen to that
Why is she doing that?
So right now she's doing a howl, and coyotes are known for their vocalizations, and this is one of them. She actually hears some sirens out in the distance, so she's kind of calling back to those sirens. But to go back to your previous question, I already spaced out on what it was.
How many pups can they have?
So these guys typically will have between 4 and 6 per litter, and that'll depend on the food that's available to them. So if there isn't a lot of food around, they'll typically have fewer pups, but if it's very abundant food resources, they'll have more.
This is awesome sirens in the background.
Yeah. So these guys are known for their vocalization, and if you look at their scientific name, Canis latrans, it actually means barking dog. So, like I said, they have 11 different vocalizations, and they all mean different things. and they're broken up into 3 different purposes. One, the howl she's doing right now is kind of a contact. She's making contact with the ambulances that are going by, but they can contact each other from long distances. They also have greetings. So earlier when Shara was first coming over, or I was first coming over, she'll do little yelps and little barks. And they also have alarm calls too, so they'll let other coyotes know that there's danger around. So their communication is very vital.
A lot of people saying that they see these guys in their backyards a lot.
That's true, and it's unfortunate because as they kind of get into urban areas, they end up becoming a nuisance and end up becoming a problem, so people ask them to be exterminated. So there's a lot of things you can do to kind of prevent that and kind of help coyotes out. And one of those things is to make sure your garbage is nice and secure, make sure it's put away, make sure your grills are clean. You don't want to attract them with any kind of smells. So any kind of food you have, whether you're feeding your animals outside, whether your bird feeders are attracting lots of birds, you want to make sure that there's nothing really tasty that they're going to want to come and investigate. You also want to watch for areas where they can make dens, so little holes under your porches or really bushy areas. You want to make sure that they're nice and trimmed so that they don't think it's a great place to go and sleep and have some babies.
So Olivia, age 7, wants to know, does Molly ever get sick?
Does Molly get sick? So thankfully she hasn't really had any major issues, but she can get all the same things that your dog can get at home. So she kind of follows the same regimen. She gets her heartworm preventative, she gets flea and tick treatment. So pretty much anything that your dog can get, she can get. So we make sure she stays nice and healthy.
All right, so Kayla wants to know, does Molly have a favorite scent?
Favorite scent. So we do put out scents for her. Sometimes it'll just be perfume and cologne, which she doesn't really care about. But sometimes we'll put out animal scents. So we'll either grab bedding from some of the other animals here at the zoo, or we'll order those little scents that you can buy, like rabbit scents and raccoon scents, and she really loves to investigate those.
So Samantha, age 7, wants to know, how long do they live?
Typically in the wild, coyotes will live about 6 to 9 years, but under human care, that number is almost doubled. So she can live anywhere up to about 15 years.
So Haley, age 9, a couple people have probably joined us late. What part of the world does she live in? Where are they mostly found? Chloe, age 9, wants to know that too.
So that's a good question. And coyotes in general are found all over North America. So up into Canada, all over the US, into Mexico, and even Central America. And Molly came to us from Texas. And there are 19 different subspecies. So she is not typical of the ones you would see around here, the eastern coyote, but they're found pretty much anywhere. They're very adaptable.
So Kaiden, age 9, wants to know, does she like fruit like mangoes?
Didn't you ask me that about the beaver, Kaiden? I think you did. I've never given her a mango, but coyotes are known to eat fruit. So even though most of their diet, they're mainly carnivorous, they do eat some plant material as well. They've been known to raid some melon farms, and so they'll eat some fruits, apples, pears, berries, every once in a while.
So Hannah wants to know, what does she do if she gets angry?
What does she do if she gets angry? That's an excellent question. And one of my favorite things about canids, or coyotes in general, or dogs, is that they have so many ways of telling us how they're feeling. So not only can she use her communication, so she will either growl or snarl or bark. So that's one way that she communicates, and even your dogs at home will tell you things by their bark. But also her body language. So if you look at what she's doing right now, she looks like a pretty happy coyote. She's laying on her back, her belly's up, she feels safe and comfortable. So their body language is, one of the ways that they can tell us how they're feeling. So if her tail was really fluffed up and held horizontally, she was arching her back and her hair on her back was standing up, and she was baring her teeth and her ears were back, those are some of the ways she tells us that she wants us to go away. And so one of the things you can do at home, since a lot of you are bored at home, is look at your dogs and what are they doing? What does it look like when they're relaxed? What does it look like when they're scared or angry? They'll tell you a lot just by the way they're sitting and standing and holding their tail.
This is great information. So, well, Shane says don't judge him. He's a mango person.
Hey, I like mangoes too.
Adrian, age 3. This is her favorite animal at the zoo. How
Yay.
old is she?
She is going to be 5 years old on April 22nd, so we should throw her a little birthday party.
All right, you talked about fruits, but Sage, age 6, wants to know, do they eat vegetables?
Yep. So we do give her, once in a while, we'll give her some carrots that she likes to gnaw on. She'll also clip grasses as well. And a lot of times you'll see in coyotes in the wild will eat some vegetation. So yes, they do eat some veggies, but meat is the main part of their diet.
So Maddie, age 6, says, do they roll in the dirt?
They do. So they will scent mark, and when we give her different scents, she likes to roll around in them. They do have scent glands at the top of their tail, right at the base of their tail. And they do use scent to communicate as well, so that's a third way that they communicate with each other. Body language, sound, and scent. And they'll actually kind of urinate all around their territory. And you might see your dogs, when you're taking them for a walk, doing that too. When they kind of arch their leg really, really high and try to get as high as they can to, you know, pee on a tree. That's one way they're trying to show that there's a really tall, really bad dog in the neighborhood and everybody should watch out.
So what do they feel like was a question somebody just had for us.
So she does have a pretty
Charlotte,
fluffy,
age 5.
fluffy coat. She kind of feels like your typical dog, like almost like a German Shepherd, I guess I would say. She feels like they do shed once a year. So between typically in July, she'll start losing a lot of her fur because she wants to get her nice thin summer coat. And then she'll grow back more fur for the winter to stay nice and warm. And they do have 2 layers to their coat. They have coarse hairs on the outside and a fluffy underside, like a lot of the animals you've seen so far.
Ellis wants to know if she knows how to swim.
Does she know how to swim? So we haven't put her in any large bodies of water. We do give her a kiddie pool in the summer, and she likes to splash around in that. But in the wild, coyotes can swim, and they can swim for a good half mile, I would say. So they are good swimmers if they need to be, but you won't find them in the water all the time.
Okay, let's see. Oh, I'm getting a good close-up of her. So do they like fish? Grace, age 11, wants to know.
Yep, it's probably not at the top of their list of things to eat, but they have been known to eat fish in the wild. We have given Molly here fish, and she's not a huge fan of it. Sometimes we just play fetch with a big old fish. Not a big fan of eating it.
I'm trying to get in close, and it looks like she's scratching at her ear, cleaning herself now. I apologize. I know the camera's a little bit shaky as I'm trying to maneuver it in here so you can see her. Can they see any color? Kaiden, age 9, wants to know.
Excellent question. So they do have pretty good vision, but they are limited in the colors they can see. Coyotes can see in the blue spectrum. So most of what they see is going to be in a blue color or a black and white color. So reds and yellows, they don't really see very well.
All right, let's see. I think we've answered most of the questions. Oh, so Hannah, age 8, wants to know, will she get anything special for her birthday, like a cake?
We'll have to think of something. I like to throw birthday parties for a lot of the animals here, so maybe we'll give her something she really likes. Rabbit is one of her favorite things to get, so maybe we'll try to make a rabbit cake.
All right. I think that we have answered everybody's questions. Molly looks like she's getting ready to take a nap now.
She's got a big meal.
So I want to thank you for joining us today. And we hope that you've been enjoying our virtual keeper chats. We're doing these on a daily basis for you folks since you can't come in and visit us live. We miss our visitors. We hope you guys are able to come back soon. I see we've raised a little bit of money. There is a donate button. Your money goes to support the zoo's conservation and education mission when you donate to the Zoological Society. So we hope that if you've enjoyed today's virtual keeper chat, you come back tomorrow. And thank you to Jess and Molly. All right, folks, have a great day.